Vladimir Putin set to declare all-out war on Ukraine in days as payback for botched Ukraine invasion. Vladimir Putin's furious army chiefs have urged him to launch an all-out war on Ukraine as payback over the shambolic invasion, officials have warned. Russia had expected it could march across Ukraine without much of a fight when troops invaded for a special operation in February, but they have faced a valiant resistance and weeks of fighting. A Ukrainian serviceman walks next to a destroyed Russian tank in Ruzinev, near Kyiv. EPA. Putin's army chiefs have become increasingly frustrated with the scaled-down offensive in eastern Ukraine and his handling of the deadly war, with a vicious blame game exploding in Moscow. Military bosses have now urged Putin to drop the term special operation used for the invasion and instead declare war on Ukraine, which would enable the mass mobilization of Russian troops. An all-out war would allow Moscow to draft in more conscripts, impose martial law and also bid for support from its international allies, such as Belarus. A source close to Russian military chiefs told The Telegraph, the military are outraged that the blitz on Kyiv failed. People in the army are seeking payback for failures of the past, and they want to go further in Ukraine. The UK's Defence Secretary Ben Wallace warned Putin could use Russia's Victory Day parade on May 9 to announce the mobilization of his reserves for a final push in Ukraine. He told LBC, he is probably going to declare that we are now at war with the world's Nazis and we need to mass mobilize the Russian people. We have to help Ukrainians effectively get the limpet off the rock and keep the momentum pushing them back. And ex-NATO chief Richard Sheriff warned the West must gear itself up for a worst-case scenario with Russia in Ukraine. The editor of the state-owned broadcaster RT Margarita Simonyan said it was more probable that Putin would launch a nuclear strike than allow Russia to lose the war. Mr. Sheriff told BBC Radio 4, the worst case is war with Russia. By gearing itself up for the worst case, it is most likely to deter Putin because ultimately Putin respects strength. Putin's top generals are already said to be turning on the tyrant over the invasion as fears of a military coup mount. The powerful Russian Siloviki, or security bloc, have reportedly blamed Putin for a serious error after retreating from the capital of Kyiv and concentrating on taking control of the Donbas in the east. Thousands more Russian troops have poured into eastern Ukraine, but they are making limited advances. Putin's military chief General Valery Gerasimov is now thought to be heading to the front line to inject momentum and authority into the struggling troops. There are credible reports that he is going to go forward, one Western official reportedly said. In overall terms, it does show the continuing command and control challenges that the Russians are having. Igor Girkin, a retired military intelligence officer who led separatist forces in eastern Ukraine in 2014, has slammed Moscow's failures in Ukraine. What else has to happen before the dwarves in the Kremlin realize they are in an all-out, harsh war and start to act accordingly? Are we fighting or are we playing around? The ex-military intelligence commander said, strike them all over, completely destroy all their aerodromes. Turn them into moon craters so that not a single plane with a Bayraktar, military drone, can take off. We must destroy all their railway lines with missiles of such big size that they spend years repairing them. Russia analyst Alexei Muraviev has previously warned that Putin faces a potential coup from within his military and intelligence services. Mr. Muraviev told Sky News Australia that the coup may come as they want to try and win the war, not to stop aggression in Ukraine. Damage caused by a Russian missile strike in Odessa, southern Ukraine. Getty. Russian tanks drive rehearse for the Victory Day military parade in Moscow. Reuters. He said, I think that there have been tensions between Russia and the intelligence community and Russia's President Vladimir Putin. I think that sort of false narrative was presented to them by the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, and when it fired back when the Russians began taking heavy casualties, Putin began quietly blaming the security services. It comes as Britain announced it is sending around 8,000 of its troops, the largest deployment in Europe since the Cold War, to take part in exercises across Eastern Europe this summer. British troops will be joined by tens of thousands of troops from NATO and the Joint Expeditionary Force Alliance. These exercises will see our troops join forces with allies and partners across NATO and the Joint Expeditionary Force in a show of solidarity and strength in one of the largest shared deployments since the Cold War.